Hi, I'm Jamie. This is Dead Dodge Garage, and this is not going to become a detailing channel. Whee! Yeah, the chances of this ever looking good, absolutely zero, but it could look better, you know, that would be something. I guess I need to wash the mud off it again. Was I supposed to slice my entire palm on that crap? Okay. Yeah, sure. Needs a better wash, but it's something. I mean, no one could look at that and say it doesn't look better than when I started. Well, they could. I hope they don't, though. All right, I might have figured out this whole air suspension thing. This is a Monroe Max Air Shock for a 2000s Chevy application, like an 06 Tahoe, for example. It uses a special quick connect fitting, so I had to get the kit for that too. But other than that bushing needing to be removed, I think it's a perfect drop-in for this Dodge. In case anyone from O'Reilly is watching and I have to return these later because this doesn't work, this didn't actually happen. You're having a nightmare. Wake up and get some milk. Also watch your nuts when you're doing this. All right, I'll spoil the surprise for you. It's not quite as easy as just press the bushing out because of course the rubber's formed around that bushing. Did I ruin it a little? Yes. It still fits on the stud pretty tightly, and once the washer's screwed down and squeezes the bushing, I'm confident it'll be fine. I also had to narrow the top sleeve just a little bit. Yay! I want to say this one more time, just in case you're getting ready to type a comment that says, air shocks are for ruining your hot rod, not for trucks. These are actually for towing and hauling, specifically. That's their job. Woo! Why haven't I checked this yet? It's fine, it's just a $56 air filter. You know what? I think I'll clean this one out. You know, this one might have been in service for a while. Big air filter doesn't want you to know you can do this. For as long as that took, and as bad as it still looks, yeah, I should have just spent the 60 bucks. Did you know you can buff surface rust? Yet another life hack Big Body Work does not want you to know about. Yeah, I guess this was the sun side because there is no life left to find in that paint. Oh well, it's less chalky anyway. No! Yep, I give up. Man, I really thought the roof might be the best panel on the truck. Not so much. But it is red. Good enough. Oh, I do really want to find a visor for this thing. My 93 dually had that and it was sweet. If anybody's sitting on one for a Dodge they don't want, feel free to let me know. Keep setting little goals for myself on this. If you get this done, you know, you can go do this or whatever. So now I'm trying to get the air shocks plumbed so I can go get a burrito. But I'm really hungry, so let's just say I'm doing it quickly. Came up with this very rudimentary control panel. As you can see, I'm gonna have switches back here for things as well. But I'm gonna run the two air fill valves right there, left and right. Hopefully someday there will be like onboard air and I can just fill them automatically. But until then, this will work fine. Okay, I might have made the air routing a little too elaborate, what with the drilling holes in the frame and the push clip zip ties and such, but you know, I don't really want any of these lines to fail. That would be bad. Going up. I should have made my panel out of stronger plate. I see that now. 40 PSI. 75 seems like a good place to start. There we go. Pretty sure I got the lines backwards. Because of course I did. Right. Huh. Oh, they're correct. Oh, there we go. Now I'm watching the left go up. I've got about 100. I guess we'll see what that does. Ever so slightly higher. Of course, we won't really know anything until there's a car on there. Oh yeah, suspension. I don't know if I discussed this or not, but with air suspension on a truck, you want the left and right plumbed individually. You don't want air to be able to swap from side to side. Then you could lose any stability you might have gained from the air system, and it could do bad stuff. Time for a test drive, you know, to see if the air shocks make the ride any better when it's empty, but also to reward myself for getting something done with a coffee and a burrito. Yeah, I mean, it's a little better anyway. I still need to do the front shocks. They're completely destroyed. It's still stiff, no question, but having that little bit of air cushion is nice. Yeah, I'm pretty much just straight up restoring this truck today. I'm about to start drilling holes for the winch reinstall. But I was thinking about this, you know, at the back of the boards here, we can't be running a cable over that. It'll just get scratched to crap. I was gonna put a piece of angle iron over it, but apparently this is all I have left. Then I found that random chunk of galvanized pipe. It's like the perfect width to span the middle there. The winch wire generally will be right here, but this way we can run it anywhere there in the middle and it won't ruin the deck. Once I get the 2x installed on the lower deck here, I will do something similar. It might not be a chunk of pipe like that, although I do have a second one. Did you know drilling holes through pipe is super dumb and stupid and horrible? Well, it is. All right, it's everybody's favorite time. Windshield install time. Not anybody's favorite time, I don't think. And I don't have any help, so that's probably dumb. Anyway, these trucks are a lock strip window. Basically, this lock strip that goes in the middle locks the gasket outward and keeps the glass in place. With the strip pulled out, if your rubber is still squishy, like mine is, you can kind of just pry it apart and you can see the windshield's just sitting in there. So, we'll pull this out and then we'll go inside the truck and lightly push out on the glass. It would be way, way smarter to use a new gasket for this, but I'm not going to. This one still seems okay. If yours is all dry, rotten, and cracked, get a new one. Well, there's no going back now, is there? Because I made it worse. You know, the last one of these I did wasn't as stubborn. Yeah, it's just very well stuck to the glass on the inside too. That's neat. Oh, if someone glued yours into the gasket, good luck. Ideally, you want it to come out in as few pieces as possible. Unfortunately, this is starting to look like a less than ideal removal. Oh, yeah, buddy. Dumb. Woo! I just want everyone to know the last one of these I did came out in one piece. Well, all right then. Yeah, so gasket's not quite as squishy as I thought. But it is what it is. Whew. Nice. Yeah, that's only in like 50 pieces. What's the big deal? Really glad I hadn't vacuumed in here yet. Sure hope this is actually the right windshield. I don't know, past me was sure this is for one of these trucks, so hopefully it is.
You know, something makes me feel like it's been here for a while.
You think?
Yeah. No, I don't know what makes me feel that way, but something tells me.
This was in the attic at the old shop for a long time. We're gonna carefully set it on the gasket and flip it up, find out it's wrong, and then I'll say some bad words, and we'll go from there.
Spin my arm here so I don't hit your antenna. There we go.
Nice.
I'm not in the gasket now.
Oh, that is totally the right windshield.
No bad words needed. I'm gonna take my hands out of here now.
It basically, you see the groove?
Yeah.
Like right here, it needs to be in the middle of the groove over there.
Let me get it lined into this groove here.
Well, I'm mentioning it there. Yeah, that's really close. Okay, so now we lubricate. We start in the middle. Try and slot it into the gasket.
How can I help?
Just hold a hand on it and make sure I don't roll it out and ruin everything. Okay. And this windshield smells like cat pee.
I wonder why. Slightly pulled down?
Just lightly, yes. Yeah. I apologize if I elbowed you in the face.
Fine.
Just gonna keep light pressure on it. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buddy. Gotta get it worked into both corners, and then it slowly kind of lays in there. I did the one in the crew cab.
Yeah.
It leaked. So then we took it to the glass shop, and they redid it, and it leaked, but less.
Oh, that's what the professional.
That's right. That's what you're spending the money on.
Leslie. Well, hey, at least it got done.
Thank you. Are you bored yet? It's a lot of this. A little bit of spray, plastic pry tool, the delightful scent of cat pee. You didn't clean the windshield before you went to put it in. Good times. Anyway, take your time. Don't rush. Don't start reefing on it. Just work the gasket around the glass. Start at the bottom, get the bottom in, and bit by bit. Having an extra set of hands, very helpful. When you get it about halfway up in both sides, you gotta go to the top. Start at the middle, work this way, that way, this way, that way. You're feeding the glass into that groove in the rubber. I've got most of the top in now, and I'm getting close to the corners. The corners, that's where the battle is won, or almost more likely lost. I'm gonna turn the camera off for that. So close. Still working back and forth, occasionally spraying some magic spray in there. Soapy water is a good choice, but I've got WD-40 handy, so I'm using that. And yeah, basically just using that plastic tool to push the gasket out around the windshield. It gets it like started like this, and then, you know, you get enough of it to where the glass will sit down more. You just kind of push in and it starts rolling over like that. You'll know you're working in the right area if you're able to push the gasket up partly over the glass and it stays. If you push it up and it just falls right back down, go work on the other side, work back and forth until the glass sinks in more and more and more. But remember, patience. Bam! It's in. Fully installed. Didn't even break it. Okay, now it's lock strip time. Same rules apply. Lubricant and patience. Halfway. Thumb's killing me. The basic technique is spray, reach in with this, pry toward the glass, because that's the side of the gasket that moves, and then push down with the thumb on the other hand. Works great, but tiring. Very tiring. And there you go. It's just that easy. Yeah, it's not that easy. Don't ever ask me to do this for you. Don't mind all the horrible streaks. I'm not a glass cleaner. It's on the list, as well as wiper blades. Look at this now. It's only mostly a turd. Oh, my sincerest thanks to my friend Mitchell, who showed up just in the nick of time to help me set that glass in. That's Green Dart Mitchell, not Gold Barracuda Mitchell. I understand that could probably get confusing. Bring it with that. Dude, there's like nice carpet hiding under all that gunk. I had no idea. Best project advice, do the hard side first. But if it's not half and it's not 9/16, oh, it's one of those kinds of deals. No, I think this one's still good. Yeah, no problem. The tool I need is in here somewhere. I know it. Ooh. Yikes. That's bad. I should fix that. Woo! The vice grips always work, usually. Okay, come on. Ah, there we go. Well, it's hours later, because of this whole other thing. I'm sure we'll talk about that eventually. Anyway, the front shocks are in, but I did slightly find something else I have to fix, which is a cracked strut rod bracket. It's not ideal. So I've got the welder, and I'm gonna make more zapping noises. Like it never happened. You know, I was fully planning to do the ball joints today, but obviously that didn't work out. Meanwhile, I'm not feeling like spending any more money on this project right at this particular moment, so I painted up this crappy old winch, which works fine. And we'll bolt it back on. Ideally with more than one bolt, which is what was holding it in place before. Whose idea was it to put all this decking in the way? This is a huge pain. Oh yeah, there's the hole where the one bolt that did something was. And here's what we have now. Oh, I think I figured out the fuel tank wiring. Very janky proof of concept type situation, but the gauge reads, and I think it's accurate judging by what it looks like in there. So that's great news. Now I just have to find a plug. Sure, fixed forever. Well, it's not like it's magically transformed into a Cadillac or anything, but hey, the horrible bounce in the front end is gone, and I'm calling that a win. Yeah, it's a bit of a rough ride. It'll be better with a car on the back. I hadn't tested the air conditioning yet. By air conditioning, of course, I mean the sliding back window. Works great. It does increase the noise somewhat. I didn't quite get the winch mounted because I suck at measuring. I had to do some die grinding, and my hands are like full of metal slivers, so that's great. I mentioned I fixed the cab light, right? It's so fixed. I gotta do this one next. Pull the pin, count to 3, and then run away. Let's talk weight. We're talking weight because someone dropped in the comments yesterday and frankly made me a little mad. Mostly because they were wrong, but they did make a good point. Good thing to double check, and got me to cross my T's and dot my lowercase j's as far as the law is concerned on this whole thing. So thanks for that. The maximum GVWR on this cab chassis is 10,500 pounds. Now in the state of Washington, anything over 10,001 has to be weighed at weigh stations, and we don't want that. The regular registration on the truck is 8,000 pounds. You can raise it to 10,000 pounds and avoid the scales. So I did. This commenter alleged that the Washington State Patrol should pull me over because that rear axle is only rated for 6,000 pounds. No, it's not. That is a Dana 70, and it is rated, according to the weight sticker for the truck, at 7,400 pounds. I was a little concerned about the entire weight of this truck being on these scales because I don't know what they're rated for. So I set up all 4 scales under the rear tires, and we'll see what we get. Here's what we get. 2,793. What's 7,400 minus 2,700? Oh, don't make me do math on camera. Essentially, I can stack 4,600 pounds directly over that axle and still be under its rating. Now the ramps aren't on it. Let's call that another 180 pounds until I lighten them. The winch isn't on it. That's another 25, 30 pounds. The spare tire. Yeah, there's some stuff, but still, let's say we've got 4,000 pounds of car to work with. I'm never going to put more than that on here. And that's assuming every bit of that weight ends up transferred to the rear axle, which it won't. The engine of the car will be right here, spread between the two. So to the commenter that posted that, thanks for playing. Thankfully, the Cummins didn't break the scales, and they appear to be 3,000 pound scales, so that's the good news. Anyway, as you can see, a Cummins engine is heavy. The truck itself, right around 6,000 pounds. Now again, there are a few things that aren't on it, but that might account for another couple hundred, let's say. Between the truck and the gross weight rating, there's still probably something like 3,800 pounds. Yeah, I think we're good. In case you've ever wondered why Cummins trucks are hard on ball joints, that's why. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and proclaim that I can do math and know how to read right on the side of the truck, and hopefully that reduces the number of conversations I have to have with local law enforcement. Listen, I am an artist, but not that kind. I gotta make nice with a sign painter. Yeah, it looks like Ray Charles painted it with his feet. And I should have put it further back instead of centering it. Whatever. Anyway, the point is, it's on there now, and hopefully it's good enough. Now the only problem is I have to do it again. Yeah, the free-handed one's better. Typical. I could have spaced that out a lot more. Oh well, anyway, now all I have to do is not touch it until it dries. That'll be easy. It won't be easy. Winch is on. The old control box is secured there with one screw. I'm going to totally rework all of that later, but yeah, not right now. Oh yeah, I couldn't get the nuts on the 2 big heavy bolts securing the winch down to the frame. So I made clearance with a hammer. Yay. Temporary rear cable slider to protect the license plate more than anything. Yeah, cable stayed. Believe it or not, I think it's finally time to actually put a car on here using the winch and everything. And then I have one more thing to figure out. Tie down points. But I think I have an elegant solution for that. Party! Come on. You're coming with me. Oh, good. The winch sucks. Maybe I should start the truck. A little better. Oh yeah, by the way, I need to fully rewrap that thing. Or just put it in the scrap pile. That would be good. I am the fairly. Oh, come on, dude. Nothing to it, basically. Hasn't fallen in the hole yet, but give it time. All right, it's on there. This car in particular is kind of dirt nasty low. So I had to shim the back tires up with some blocks I cut out of a humongous deck plank from an old wooden ship. The rest of that's supposed to be a bar top, eventually. The rear suspension basically ended up back where it was. I can only get 110 PSI into those air shocks with my compressor, so I guess this is what it is. It doesn't look terrifying or anything, but there's a definite squat. Yeah, so airbags, what a good idea. That'll do fine for now, but I scratched the crap out of the deck getting him there. All right then, wish me luck. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Good news, the fuel gauge doesn't move when you add fuel, so that's unfortunate. And of course the speedo's still dead. And of course I didn't get to do the ball joints, so the front end's still a little goofy and it pulls to the right a bit. Otherwise, it's nice. I mean, you feel the weight back there, but it rides nice. I can see, pretty comfortable. I really wish I had some kind of cruise control. And a speedometer in the dash instead of having to use GPS on my phone. That would be nice. And nobody died. Not even a little bit. Take that, haters. Going down. Yes. Yes. Oh, didn't even scrape a little. Nice. Yeah, so the air conditioning got charged, and now it does something. Well, it's some days later. I should probably be doing like ball joints or something right now, but instead, I'm working on things that really matter. That's right, it's Prudence's Wild Ride. I did have a genius idea. As you know, I'm gonna fill this in as a back deck for ramp storage or whatever. I need somewhere to put the spare tire, and I figured it would go on there too, but it's gonna get crowded pretty quick. Then I realized I could put in like a crossbar up here and just set the spare tire right in that weird, useless, angled section right there. That'll be great. I keep trying to do nice things for this truck, like install new headlight bulbs, and it keeps trying to stop me. Wow, so nice. Yeah, don't look at that. That's terrible. Look at that. The lower deck appeared as if by magic. Now I'm working on lights and stuff. Funny story. The distance from the rub block there and the back of this deck, which I actually ran long, further past my rear cross member there, exactly the length of the ramps. And this is where I want to put them. So that becomes a problem for the spare tire. I was thinking angling it there. Well, then the ramps won't fit. So what I think I'm going to do instead, lop off those ends that are doing nothing, clean up the top of the frame rails, run like a strap across or two, and then set the tire right there. It's 31 inches tall, so it'll come out to like here. The rubber is 9 inches tall, so it'll stick like this far above the rail, really not much farther than the decking, and it'll be like right here. So I think that's fine. I really should have cleaned all that up when I was building the damn thing anyway, but I was kind of in a hurry. You know, I've gotten a lot of comments about putting non-stick stuff on the deck, and I'm probably going to do that. But winch, that'll only be as a backup. I'm planning to always load this thing using the winch for safety and stuff. So I won't be sliding any cars into the big open hole. I understand you might look at this and think it's not ideal and unsafe, but I'm looking at it as 1,000 times safer than what was there before. And I drove a car up that, so yeah. Now taking bets on how long it takes me to smash and destroy these driving lights I'm going to turn into rear loading / reverse lights. Probably not long. Oh yeah, well, I'm thinking about it. One commenter said to get rid of the taillights and extend these rails all the way out so I can move the ramps farther out. Remember, this is only for A-body and maybe B-body Mopars. These lights nestle in perfectly right here. But yeah, they'll almost definitely get smashed by like a strap or something. I could try and like hide them. That might be cool, but I don't know. I want people to know I'm backing up, and I really want to be able to see. My friend Byron gave me this set of 4 off-road lights, formerly employed as like headlights on a smashed Focus or something. Anyway, I'm thinking I'll use 2 of these for, you know, late night back road driving lights on this truck. And the other 2, I'm going to mount right here on the corners of the bed facing rearward. Maybe right here. I don't know. We'll figure that part out later. If you're looking at the winch and all the lights I'm bolting on here for loading lights and stuff, and thinking that a second battery would be a really good idea, I was thinking the same thing, but yeah, that's going to have to be a future upgrade. Here's the nighttime view with the new improved headlights. It's something. Gonna have to check it on an actual road, but I don't know, it's better. It can't possibly be worse. The other big thing I want to get done before the trip is reinstall this grill guard and push bar setup. Partially because it's awesome, but also because push bar. If I cared more, I'd be looking for a new front bumper right now, but, and this is important, I don't. Hey, remember what I pointed out in the first video on this truck that looked kind of like a bullet hole in the fuel tank? Well, I don't know if it is a bullet hole, but it's definitely a hole, so remind me to JB weld that at some point. That would be a good idea. It's like 10 o'clock at night, so drilling and hammering and cutting time's probably over. I'm gonna do a couple quiet operations before I call it a night though. Break this thing down, get my lights ready. I think I just found my spare tire mount bar too. Nice. This one needs a new bulb. H3? H1? I don't remember. Might even have one, but probably not. Anyway, it's beyond stupidly late, so we'll pick this up some other time. Oh yeah, in case you're keeping score at home, I leave a week from yesterday. So, wait, how is this supposed to work? How does it go in there? I don't get it. Yay, more work. Sun's out, and it's shining on all of us. Gee, what could possibly be wrong with this speaker? It just makes no sense at all. Finally got irritated enough to rip off this velour whatever panel that kept catching my arm. Unfortunately, it made a big empty hole, so that sucks. Now I guess I'll glue it back on. Let me just go ahead and restore the stereo system in the truck real fast with some free speakers. Wiring was goofy and it sounded super thin, so I fixed that. Then it sounded kind of okay. Turns out it was wired backwards. Now it sounds almost as good as the stock speaker in the other side. So I guess I'm gonna just change this one and call her a day. Oh yeah, fixed forever, I think. Oh, that's what happened to the fender. Did I just triple the value of the truck? Maybe. Yes, it was $500, but it was all worth it. It's just like Christmas. So satisfying. Boop. Inflate tires with ambient air only. The tires on your truck box. Okay, will do. I almost cannot believe this, but this box was made in America. Yeah, so anyway, I leave for the trip in 2 days. I've been thinking about storage for this truck for quite some time because there really isn't much, like at all. And it turns out Tom's going to be riding back with me from the Minnesota show. We're going to need somewhere to put, like, I don't know, clothes. So yeah, truck box. Now I was going to buy a 36-inch one, which would be like here. But these 60-inch units fit, and it was only like 20% more for almost twice as much box. So yeah, there goes the YouTube money. At the same time, I tried to think of everything else. Oh, markers, yeah, we might need those at some point. Anyway, tie downs. I'm going to put tie downs in the deck, big spreader washers. Hook here for one strap, hook there for another strap. I always hook both ends to the same point, you know, so it returns. And then we'll do 2 in the back on the ramp section. It'll be far enough back to work for A body or B body, of course. And yeah, I got big gnarly carriage bolts and washers and locking nuts and all that kind of stuff. And I got all the mounting hardware for this thing because instead of using brackets like, you know, they want you to, I'm going to drill holes in this shiny, very expensive brand new toolbox and bolt it to the frame of the bed. Now I also dug up this box in the back room at Rocket yesterday. That's pretty cool. It's just about the perfect size to hold all of my ratchet straps. And we realized that that would probably fit between 2 of the frame members in the bed here if I just chop the wood and sink it in there. I have to change a couple things. Take the handles off the side, move the latch because that won't work. It's basically right outside of where the tires run on an A-body, but even if they like go half on that box lid, it'll be just fine. In that position, the tire will be up here, the rear tire will be back there, the rocker will be close to that, but you'll still be able to open that almost all the way without hitting a car. So it'll be easy to get in and out of. Should work great, clears the tire, it's perfect. Down the line, I want to get another underneath box like that. That one will be the smaller, either 36-inch size or I think there's a 42. And that'll fit perfectly here, won't run into that. It'll be awesome. And I've still got space back here. Ideally, I'd really like to be carrying onboard air and a generator. It's not happening anytime soon. There's no way I've got time for that. As great as onboard air would be, it's just not going to happen in 2 days. Now there's one problem with having a toolbox right here, and it's the lack of filler neck. I probably can get back there to put fuel in it, but it won't be a super fun time. So I'm going to try and find a filler, I guess. Well, or I could use this one and just cut this bend off and get a chunk of Volco hose to go back there. Yep, it's a tie down point. I mounted these far enough forward to get some good angle on the straps. I could scoot them back 4 more inches and catch a cross member under here, which would be great for ultimate strength. Remember, this is tongue and groove. So this, if it's pulling, it's not just pulling on the one board, it's pulling on the boards around it too. So that's great. I did consider putting them out here, but I really didn't like how when I was running straps to this corner, they were rubbing on the tire. That's not really ideal. I think this will look a lot better. Now I attached them with carriage bolts, lock nuts, and big washers underneath. If that becomes a problem, if it's trying to pull through the deck wood, I could always put a plate underneath. All right, I'm just gonna head a bunch of comments off right now. I didn't leave it like that. I put plates underneath immediately. And that works great, but just washers, bad idea. Don't do that. They squish into the wood too bad. To the fill in the center of that ramp crowd. I want you to know that a professional hauler picked up a car from us at Rocket yesterday. Guess what his trailer was shaped like? Exactly this. We've got another hauler friend that tows stuff all up and down the West Coast. Guess what his trailer looks like? It looks like this. They don't have these trick lower loading platforms though. That is a Dead Dodge Garage exclusive. I think that's about right. How funny will it be when I have to totally redo all that? Now, just so we're all aware, it would have been 1,000 times easier to do this before the decking was on. I really like these hooks under the edge of the bed. They're perfect for running straps across and holding things down to the flatbed. And I do need to be able to do that still. Unfortunately, they're in the way of mounting my toolbox. So anyway, I started cutting. Yeah, so it's hours later, and the box still isn't mounted, but I do have a working CB radio, so that's cool. Yeah, that attention deficit thing, no joke. I'm trying to keep it simple, stupid here. So this 2x6 offcut left over from the decking is going to be the spacer that kicks the box down where it needs to be. I've already drilled frame holes, so now I've got the bolts there. But before I did that, I marked out this 2x for the bolt locations. Now I've drilled this. I'm going to make sure all the holes work, and then I'll use this as a template to drill the top of my very expensive toolbox. Had to heave it down there by myself. But things actually lighter than I thought. Not so bad. Anyway, as you can see, everything's all lined up. So I'm going to carefully lift it up now, get it started on those 4 bolts, get those tight, and I came up with something different to do on the back. Basically, I want to hedge my bets. So I'm going to use 2 straps on the back of the box, maybe one on the very front. Well, I'll figure that out in a minute here. But anyway, a pair of straps coming down from those frames on the back. Each one of them will go down the length of the box, and I'll have 2 bolts going through that way. And that'll do something. There you go. That is attached. Still got to do the back straps. It's kind of wobbly, just that row of front bolts. I think I've mentioned this, but someday I do want to skirt all of this and enclose the sides. Also, someday I need to get a wider rear axle, but that's another deal. You know, new winch cable might have to happen sooner than later. Someone remind me why I put the box in before fixing the fuel tank. Tuner's almost ready. Oh, okay. Can't do that one-handed. Well, there's epoxy on it. And on my hand. And on everything else. But hopefully it doesn't leak diesel anymore. This might actually be good sleeping quarters. If it was like 8 inches longer. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think it's going anywhere, so that's the good news. Oh. Now, I'd really like to put toolbox liner stuff in this so my stuff won't go sliding around. But that sounds expensive, so Hotchkiss box. That should do something. You know, this is a cute idea, but I don't think it's actually going to happen. At least not anytime soon. I somehow spent my entire day on this, and it's still not done. I still need a tire carrier. That's kind of important. Oh yeah, ball joints. Also important. There we go. Pile of spare parts, tire blocks, toolbox, pile of straps, kneeling pad, camera tripod, spare drive shaft, some different lengths of wire, pull strap, spark plugs, all kinds of good stuff in there. I do need to steal a race jack from my brother and then somehow get that in this box, but I'm sure we can use some more of the available vertical space. And of course, the blocks and straps won't be in there most of the time. And now I've got all this space for snacks and clothes, I guess. It's been a long day. I wanted to get a lot more than that done, but it's something. The more I think about this, the more I think it's dumb without a reinforcing plate under there, so that's probably gonna happen tomorrow. Pretty much everything that's left has to happen tomorrow because I'm leaving the day after. Something about eating an elephant. Anyway, ball joints? Okay, what are the chances of that? I think they're low. Well, that's one way to deal with the bush problem. Did you know I'm really super good at procrastinating by finding unimportant things to do? It's one of my special talents. The good news is the ramp truck has a demon sign on it now, so that's kind of cool. Okay, anyway, finally time to do the ball joints, and I got an oil change. Now you'll notice it's kind of sort of sitting on my 2-post lift. Now this is not a very heavy duty lift. It's rated for 7,200 pounds. Seeing as how I've scaled this truck at 6,000, before the box of course. It's probably safe. The problem is it's 1,000,000 miles long and it's too wide. Even if the mirrors were folded in, the bed would hit there, so not gonna work. So instead I'm just gonna lift the front of the truck with it. Easy, steady on. I know a good few of you thought this thing would have been doing wheelies when I loaded the Charger on it. Not even close. This is the only wheelie this truck's ever gonna do. I'm gonna say something that I'll definitely regret later. Where's all the typical Cummins oil leakage? This is just wrong. There's a bit on the transmission. I think it's coming from the rear main seal, but it's like just slightly damp. It's not pouring everywhere, so that's nice. Recall the whole grill support, radiator support flops around thing? Well, what do you see in there? Horribly squished, destroyed rubber puck mounts. What do you think my chances are to get that hardware apart? I'm thinking low. We're not even gonna talk about this. Well, this is interesting. The alignment's clearly been messed with on this left side here. Not sure what to think of that. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it was actually aligned, I don't know, but only this one has evidence of having moved ever. It is tight, I checked. Anywho, I crawled under here to double check the U-joints. I did look at them once and they looked okay. They still look okay, but recall I was hearing a banging noise occasionally when it downshifted from 3 to 2 or shifted from 2 to 3 under some power. You know, a complete lack of transmission mount rubber might contribute to that. So I ordered a transmission mount, but it sure doesn't look fun to replace. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of other little stuff I'd like to fix here, but really need to pick my battles at this point. Did I mention I'm leaving tomorrow? Well, I'm finally into the ball joints. The top one came right out, and it's actually in really good shape, so I'm just going to save that. Incidentally, the upper one is threaded in, just like old school Mopar ball joints, and I do have the special tools for that, but again, that one is still tight. If it was like floppy loose, I'd go ahead and change it, but it's fine. Now the bottom ball joint, not fine. Not even a little fine, so yeah, working on getting that out. So the thing about this is it doesn't come out because it's too big. It's stuck inside the rotor and the shield. There are a lot of different applications, like Chevrolets, for example, where it'll kind of sort of get stuck in the rotor, but it will come out. This thing, I'm not so sure. I'm going to try and move the spindle all the way that way and see if it'll drop down. And then I'm going to have to press the new one up in there with the spindle still in place. Now I'll do that with a jack and a hammer. I've done that many times, but kind of sketchy, if I'm honest. To get the rotor off, though, I'd have to get the nut out from inside that dually extension, which I really don't want to do. So I'm going to keep screwing with this for a minute. Oh, and by the way, that one does not thread in. That is a pressed-in joint. I was able to just pry it down with my pry bar. It didn't just pop out, but it didn't take a whole lot of force. I find that interesting. All right, I got it out. I just had to figure out the correct combination of wiggling and wobbling and prying and yelling at it. New ball joints always ship like this with the boot installed, even though, as you can clearly see, it's got to be off for reinstallation. It boggles the mind. Anyway, I'm going to take this to the grinder and flatten off one side, try and keep metal shavings out of it. And that way it should be, physically possible to reinstall this thing with all that in place. But we'll see. Yeah, that should help. Contoured the edges there. Almost ground it down all the way to the splined surface, but not quite. You do need that lip there as a stop. It will be fine missing that little chunk of it. Anyway, make sure you don't get this thing too hot. Okay, I'm gonna grease the spliny part there, pop the boot off, and hopefully I can reinstall this thing. Yeah, grinding that little flat on there works perfectly. Of course, now I have to get the joint pressed in, and it's definitely going in harder than it came out, which I believe is the intention behind the lines on there. But yeah, I'm installing it like this, which I do not recommend you do because it's unsafe, insane, and not smart. It's most of the way in there. I just need to get it pressed home that much. I could just take the spindle off now that I ground that flat in the ball joint and install the ball joint the correct way. So I did that, but of course it was cockeyed. So I have been fighting this thing for like an hour and a half. I don't even know, but it is now installed. Well, I kind of feel like I lost a fight, but it's back together. Now I got to get that dang idler arm. Nice thing on these heavy duty dealy bobs, you can pull the caps out with the wheels in place. So I did, pulled the cotter pin. I was able to turn that nut like 2 flats. It went down smoothly. The bearings sound good. They're all nicely covered in grease. They don't look like they've been hot or anything. So I think it's good. I am carrying spare bearings, so that's the good news. The stupid news is brand new idler arm has almost exactly as much play as the one I took off. The whole linkage flops up and down like that much maybe. It just doesn't seem good. The wheels can like do this, to each other. And yeah, anyway, apparently that's just what it is. So that's the good news. Incredibly, I'm done. I haven't changed the wiper motor yet, but yeah, otherwise I'm done. I even changed the oil, although there was a little problem with that. That cap in the one valve cover, not as effective as the cap that's usually down here in the standpipe breather tubey thingy. And you can fill that up because it's really slow to drain back. So I poured like a quart of $19 a gallon, at least, diesel oil all over this damn thing. That was fun. Okay, I also haven't done the filler neck yet. That's fine. The big thing is I haven't done the spare tire mount. So I decided to go after that. Just loosen the winch wire, right? Yeah, guess what? The stupid winch died. It's not like I expected it to live forever, but like, so yeah, I guess I'm spending more money tomorrow. Hey, I have a question. Why is this winch motor water cooled? That's not good, and it smells terrible.
Oh, it got worse.
So you can't smell this, but it is bad. So bad. Like this thing's just been liquefied. Anyway, there's melted wires and all kinds of other stuff. So I think this crappy old winch has chooched its last. Bye-bye. Good news, everyone. The middle joint totally is bad. Well, I'm getting pretty good at knowing where it is, so that's the good news. Today was pretty productive, but I still hated almost every minute of it. I'm pretty sure the truck is more crooked now that I put all that weight on the one side. Someone should look into that. Anyway, whoa, deer. That was crazy looking. Also, there was a dog. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? Yeah, you better run. Anyway, as I was gonna say before I was so rudely interrupted, that is not loud enough. I'd really like a win here, so I'm gonna go down the road and see if the truck drives straighter. So far, not really. Yeah, so I probably need to check the alignment too. I really don't want to destroy my brand new tires. They were very expensive. I truly don't know. It's both better and worse. Okay, according to my hand chronometer, it is still the same height in the back, which of course is where most of that weight is. So I think it's an illusion. I mean, it's bent. I said it's bent. It's obvious the whole nose is crooked. I think it's fine. My entire hand fits over the tire on the other side. So, yeah, it's that much lower over here. I'm gonna stop looking at it now. Yep, I'll be giving this thing an alignment in the morning. I hope that helps, because it's just screwy. Hey, at least I have a CB radio. That's the good news. Alignment day, which is also fix exhaust day, and also replace the winch day, and also load the car and leave day. Before I get into the alignment, I do want to mention real quick, I've made light several times of the fact that the truck is like crooked, but I want you to know I measured the frame rails. This one is a 1/4 inch lower than that one, which, you know, makes sense. There is like a couple hundred extra pounds on this side. So I'm good with that. It's certainly not the 3-inch difference. That is all in the body. The body's junk. I think I've said that enough. Okay, well that's one problem. I've got an entire degree of positive camber on this side. I'd like something like a 1/2 degree or as low as a 1/4. I think 1/2 degree is the spec. I think the theory is when you put a load on it, the wheel settles a little bit and that 1/2 degree ends up close to 0. Meanwhile, over here on the right side where I just replaced the ball joints, it's got 0.3 of negative camber. So that explains that. And the caster number, 1.5 times 1.5, 2.25 degrees, which, well, could be worse, I guess. Oh, I sure hope my tetanus shot's still good. And I thought aligning an A-body sucked. This is not super fun, actually, if I'm honest. The good news is it's close, and the better news is I've got 9 minutes to get to the exhaust shop. I fought it, and fought it, and fought it, and then it went pop, and it went too far. All right, now the test drive with the toe not reset and the camber not adjusted on this side will be over to the alignment shop. I'm sure it will go great. It feels better, but it still tends right. So, yeah. When I drove it yesterday after doing the ball joints, it had a weird feeling to it, like kind of like it was driving over the right tire, and that's gone. It just still goes right, so not ideal. I've only just realized how bad the wiper bushings squeak. That's unfortunate. I've got some new ones, but no time to put them in, so I guess that means it's fine. Wiper motor just quit again. So I guess I am replacing that today. Come on, man! Why is everything going so crappy all of a sudden? Why? I wanted to be leaving like now. Wow, it's flying. Did I ever tell you about the time I got run into in this coffee drive-thru? Well, it happened right here. Listen, there is no need to call me out like that. Oh, this is way better. I can barely hear the dang thing and the window's open. All right, I take that back. With the window closed, it's only slightly better. It is still a Cummins, you know. Most of the noise in here comes through this horrible gap, which is slightly my fault, but anyway. Check it out. The exhaust no longer hangs way down. Self-fixed. It's got an actual axle tube and a turn down. Very nice. I kind of wanted it to come all the way out here, but, well, the exhaust guy made an executive decision, and I respect that. It would have been pretty low. Oh, in case you were wondering, I'm still smelling clean oil burning off this stupid engine. That was a good move. Well, it's interesting. The left side is pretty close, as I saw earlier. I guess I tried to adjust it slightly and say a prayer or something, and then give up and accept that this thing just pulls to the right. Oh, I don't think I mentioned in this video, but that's a quick trick. If you've never seen one of those, it's a cool home kit for checking and adjusting your alignment. And it's neat, but turns out it doesn't really work with 31-inch tall tires so well. The bar needs to be like another 2 inches longer. Anyway, I can at least kind of sort of eyeball it, and it looks like currently this thing is towed at 0, or really close to 0. And it should have some toe in. What's the over-under on me getting the tie rods loose and being able to actually adjust them and make an effective change? I'm just staring at this steering suspension system, mostly confused. The tie rod measures the same height from the ground. I learned recently that can be important. This one looks flatter, but this side is a 1/4 inch lower, as I mentioned. Probably because someone put that big heavy toolbox off to one side. So that might be all it is. Or there are more worn parts in the steering, which would not be a surprise to anyone. I don't know. I got the driver's side tie rod sleeve loose, so I turned that side in one turn, and now I've got, as near as I can tell, a 1/4 inch of toe in. So hopefully that helped, because I just did it on the one side. It's definitely going to move the steering wheel, which might be fine. I need to hit the road really soon. So it's rapidly becoming apparent that a lot of the things I wanted to do, like put lights on and stuff, not going to happen. It is what it is. The bulk of what I need done is done. I need a winch, and I need this thing to kind of sort of go straight down the road. Also, I need to do the reinforcing plates for the tie-down points. And I need a license plate light. I already made an executive decision on the spare tire mount. Unfortunately, I have to pull it out to get the ramps in and out, which is annoying, but it's gonna be fine. On the subject of winches, I do have one more crappy old underrated one. It's supposed to be good for about 4,500 pounds, which should be plenty for pulling a car up on here. I broke the clutch handle off of that a long time ago. That was the original off of my car trailer. I could probably spend a bunch of time fixing everything wrong with that, wiring it up to my solenoids that are already on the truck, and making it probably kind of work. Or I just go spend more money. So, given all that, what am I doing? Something completely different. Building a fuel filler neck. Hey, if it's good enough for the Coast Guard, it's good enough for me, probably. Also, did you know if you don't have a clamp that's big enough, you can just make one? Also, did you know filler neck breathers are extra? Okay, that last part's not really true. I'll figure that out later. Did I mention I'm out of time? Okay, seriously, that worked out perfectly. It even has the right amount of fall and stuff, I think. And with any luck, it won't leak and it won't blow off of there. Making up some of the quickest, dirtiest spreader plates to go under those hook points known to man. Backing plates are in, which means the only thing left on the need list, other than hopefully driving straight, is a winch. So I'm off to buy one. Yeah, it still wants to gradually wander right, but the front end feels pretty tight now, so I think that's it. Remind me at some point to check the wheelbase side to side and really check the frame for straightness. In the meantime, though, I guess I'm gonna be turning left for the next 5,000 miles. Can't wait. Okay, seriously, it is better. It's better, but it's not perfect. And it's not gonna be perfect. Oh, and in case you were wondering about the whole speedometer thing, no, it's not fixed. I'm gonna use my phone with a GPS thingy. Yay. Oh, it's been a rough couple days, but I still really like this thing, and I'm looking forward to hitting the road finally. Okay, so, no starty, no more. Thank Christ it happened in my own driveway. I have noticed that occasionally I'll go to hit this button and there's a delay before it works. A really brief delay. Now it's just dead. But is it a button problem or a starter problem? I don't know. Let's find out. The nut's slightly loose on the starter. That's a problem I can deal with. A new starter at this stage of the game would really suck. Forget everything I said. It is a bad push button. Yay! Well, that or a bad connection. Either way, the result is the same. I had to get out and jumper the starter with a friggin' chunk of wire in the coffee drive-through. It's just never a dull moment. Important clue. The CB is powered by that same little goofy fuse panel. Yeah, it was dead. It's just a crappy connection on the battery. I'm not surprised, just still disappointed. I have so much time into this friggin' truck by now. I bet this video is like a full-length feature film, and I apologize for that if you're one of the people that hates that sort of thing. This is how I feel. Exactly like that. It's currently 3:40 p.m. Ideally, I wanted to be on the road at like noon so I can make it to Bend tonight. Well, obviously that didn't happen. Winch, load car, pack clothes, get a haircut, finish 2 videos. It's gonna be dark by the time I hit the road, let's just be honest. I always make sure to wait for the busiest times before running my errands. That's key. But pretty sure the little guy would do what I need, you know? But I don't really want to find out the hard way. Oh, you look heavy. Update. It was heavy. And traffic sucks. Now, I seriously do not want or need this much winch on this truck, but it's what they had. And recall, the winch on my trailer is dying anyway, slowly. So, this might find its way on there eventually. But for now, I'm gonna drill some more holes and bolt this bastard on the truck. Well, I did want to wash the Demon before I left. This is like that. Don't mind me, just fabbing up a mount bracket. What somewhat resembles a straight bend. Remind me to get a break with childbearing hips. Oh yeah, I am winning a fabby for that one. It's beautiful. It's a winch, and it works. And the good news is it's only 6:30. I did kind of have to add a winch battery, which I'd love to have over there for weight distribution reasons, but have I mentioned how out of time I am? I'd have to reroute all the wiring and yeah, no, this is fine. The battery is officially retained securely with 70-year-old seatbelt technology. Remember that whole truck slightly crooked thing? Left air shock leaks. Great. Literally backed the truck out of the shop to load the car and went, oh crap, license plate light. All right, it's done. I even wired these guys. I don't have the 1, 2, 3 in the middle. But in my defense, I saw a professional cross-country hauler the other day with a trailer just like this. And he didn't have them either, so hopefully that's just fine, because I don't really have room for them. Well, that happened. Okay, so I switched them to the other left taillight wire. It's where I pulled all the running light power off of. And it still flashes. But when it's not flashing, it works normally. Here's what happens when you hit the brake. It brightens slightly. I am so friggin' confused. Previously, those were blinking with the right turn signal, which just FYI makes 0 sense. Now, when you hit the right turn signal, these turn off and it doesn't blink. Okay. Turns out the right one doesn't blink ever when the running lights are on. Even with all the new wires I just put in cut. What the hell, dude? It actually did weird stuff like this before, but I thought it magically fixed itself. Apparently not. You know, yesterday, 2 of these worked. This morning, all of them work. Now, 3 of them work. I'm about to lose it. Oh, and yes, all the running lights are still flashing with the right blinker. Trying to figure that out. Oh, I friggin' got it. Why'd we lose that running light? Would you believe me if I told you it was related to this random ball of soldered up wires? I know. Crazy. Oh, I pity whatever poor bastard has to try and diagnose this in 5 years when it all goes wrong. Yeah, it's gonna be me. Finally. Oh, yeah, stuff's normal. Now I just have to put that back together, and then seriously, it's time to load the car. And then I gotta mount those things, but don't worry about that. All right then, without further ado, let's try this. Dang, I'm good-ish. Yes. Big boy winch is a great investment. Tons of clearance on the block so far. All right. Probably should have thought of subframe connectors. Nice. All right. Well, that's up as far as it can go, so I am going to have to do up an extra set of 2x blocks, but that's okay. Kind of anticipated that happening anyway. No one can deny that that is a Demon on a ramp truck, so that's a success. But I need more blocks, and then more straps, and then just stow all that stuff, and then leaving? I will just go ahead and spoil the surprise for you though. There's no way I'm leaving tonight. Cheeseburger. Because I didn't leave, I decided to treat myself. So here we are now at like the dark time. This is so cool. I am so impressed with myself. It's been a long day, but I think it was all worth it, hopefully. I don't know. Now I gotta take the car part way back off. You may recall I added this tube for the winch wire to run over so it wouldn't chop up my wood. Yeah, it's too tall. That's actually the biggest issue here, as you can see. If that wasn't there, it would just be wood. So, I think we're gonna take it out. Now with that gone, the winch wire will run on those boards, you know, when the car is coming up and down. So that's not ideal, but I don't know. I think I prefer it to the alternative. Remember how I didn't get the loading lights done yet? Yeah, really wish I'd gotten the loading lights done. I just realized this would probably be a really good spot for them. Remember how I didn't want to put the hooks any farther that way? Yeah, good thinking. Also, I think I nailed the positioning side to side because the strap is perfectly off of the tire. The good news is the friggin' bar deleted itself. Well, the headers did anyway. Sorry, buddy. You're never gonna be a bar top. The factory cargo light works, and it does a lot more than I thought it would. Well, to all you guys that said that was too much angle on the dovetail, yeah, you were right. You can do the I told you so dance now if you want. Listen, it seemed like a good idea at the time. It's perfectly fine for an A-body without subframe connectors or headers. Unfortunately, Dale Steeman has those things, so it is not perfectly fine. But I triaged the situation. If I had more of this big gnarly planking, I would have just run it all the way, but I don't. So what I'm gonna have to do instead is move these blocks twice as the car comes up and down. Yeah, it's gotta go there so the header flange is clear. Now I could probably fix that in the future by, I don't know, taking some meat out of that area where it's not even necessary, but that is not a Today Jamie thing. We've got a comfortable let's call that 3-inch gap to the headache rack. The winch wire is perfectly all the way in. Of course, I'm using one of those tree grabber thingies to wrap the K-frame to pull it up, so that's good. Here's the overhang at the back. That's totally legal. Now, if you're worried about bouncing, the front suspension is fully on the bump stops already, and the rear suspension does not have a whole lot of give. Frankly, if I put the pinion snubber back in, it would never bounce, period, but yeah, it might move a little bit. But I don't think there's any way those subframe connectors are bouncing off the deck. And if they do, well, they're subframe connectors hitting wood. I think it'll be fine. Remember how I was all proud about getting those front tie-down points exactly right on a guess? Not so much on the rear. They were too far forward, and I had to remove them anyway to fit these blocks. So now I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, just so you know, I did have the genius idea to flip the ramps up here and use them to space up the back tires. Save some weight, you know? Didn't quite work out. I think they were like just a little too long. They're also heavy and terrible. And then you have to get the car like right there and then move the ramps. So yeah, not so much, but it was a nice idea. Executive decision. The tie downs will go right here at the corners on a down angle. And I think it'll be fine. Gotta say, getting the rams in there, even with the car in the way, not bad at all. I prefer they were like somewhere under here out of the way, but it is what it is for now. Now getting the tire in there, that sucks. Again, thankfully only a now Jamie problem, not a future Jamie problem. I don't even know what time it is. Almost midnight, I think. Car is on. Car is blocked, strapped down. Everything's secure. Ready to go, I think. I even found a home for the strap box, and it's screwed down. Nice. Might have to change that, but it's gonna do for now. Remember, I don't really have a working fuel gauge, so yeah, jerry can. I really wanted to build a rack right here that holds 2 jerry cans, a battery, and, you know, another box or something. More someday ideas, I guess. With that, the truck is done and ready to go. I hope that's true. Of course, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't trust it. I'm just saying. That does it for this one. Bright and early tomorrow, I'm going to hit the road. And that'll be this whole other video. In fact, there will probably be like 4 of them. In any case, I want to thank you very much for hanging with me to this point. This is a crazy adventure I'm about to embark on. Hopefully it's, as awesome a time as I think it will be. But we'll all find out together. My race with Tony is a week from today. I don't really know what the release schedule is going to be like. You might see this soon. You might see this when the race has already happened. Who knows? Either way, there will be more on this story coming. Until then, as ever, thank you very much for watching. And remember, just because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take does not mean you should take every shot. Reverse lights. What a good idea. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.